So what I've done is I have gone to the headwaters of Bear Creek, which, I mean, on the map, but I missed it by a little bit. We are actually on the Fox Hollow Golf Course, a little off mark. Bear Creek, the head of Bear Creek is over there. And then of course there's Bear Creek. By the way, folks, didn't I tell you? Colorado, Denver, beautiful. And the weather's been beautiful. And this trip's been wonderful. I don't care. I mean, if I find it wonderful, but it's been a great trip. The head of Bear Creek is over there. So I'm gonna have to get back in my car and drive. I started having a very distinct feeling, and I'm not the first to think of this, plenty of other people have, that it will in fact be a blaze on a mountain. It goes back to what I was saying about being down in the weeds and looking for blazes on trees. I mean, it's got to be big. It's got to kind of stop you when you're traveling, driving, whatever you're doing to travel around looking for this. It's got to kind of say, here it is, folks. And then even then, if it's on a mountain, you're going to have to stop and kind of figure it out. So this is interesting. This is kind of funny. I have actually pulled into a little offside thing. If you go down this road right here, there's a road over there. There's a road over there. That's where it was going to take me to Bear Creek Lake. It's a park, and you have to pay to get into it. I'm kind of like, no, I just ain't playing that. So I'm on this little side thing here. Wait a minute. So back in 2007, well, now I'm seeing some picnic tables. Oh my Lord. You don't think I'm stupid enough that I'm going to park here and go across and look at those picnic tables, do you? Would I do that? And here's like where he parked, like on the side of the road? I don't know. It just seems kind of, I mean, is this even legal? This is so funny. There is something there's like a sign down there. There's a big rock. And there's picnic tables. I don't know if you can see them. And there's a path. Well, see, damn it, I got to investigate that. This is so ridiculous. There's just clues everywhere. I don't know what that monument is to. It's a monument, really. Wouldn't he have said a monument? I don't know. I gotta figure out how to get to Great Bear Creek Lake. I gotta figure out how to get there, and I'll be damned if I'm paying $6 to get in here to drive around for 15 minutes and realize it's not here and leave. I assume it's up over that. All right. Getting hilarious, kind of. But I mean, I'm out here to treasure hunt, right? So I've got nothing else to do. I've misled myself. You know that place I was at near the golf course? That was not the head of Bear Creek. I mean, yeah, Bear Creek. That was just, I don't know what that was, but Bear Creek goes a lot longer. And I've just been studying my Google, and I have to go to find the place that's a trailhead, which is the last place that it looks like you can get off, you can park on Bear Creek in Colorado Springs, which is an hour and a half away. Or no, it's about an hour and 10 minutes away. So I'm just heading out on the road, and I'm going to go up there, and pretty much I think I'm getting to the end of my my treasure hunt, because I'm just sticking with this freaking Bear Creek thing, but yeah, and then I can get out, and Bear Creek goes way on a way up, and so I may find myself trekking, but I'm going to use common sense. When I get to the point where I can get out of the car and I can keep going up Bear Creek, that's kind of my game plan, then I'm going to figure, okay, let's say he took it in an afternoon. So let's just say an afternoon is, I don't know, I'm going to say 1 to 5. And with all the stuff that comes with kind of doing your thing, you know, what are we talking? We're talking maybe 40-minute trip either way, twice. So I'm going to go walking up there, and I'm going to look for a blaze at about a half an hour to 40 minutes, keeping in mind that he walked in and out twice. And if I don't find it, I mean, I'm not going to go walking in there for 2 hours, because he didn't walk in for 2 hours either way twice. It's kind of way you got to keep thinking about all this. All right, later, folks. I'm heading out for Colorado Springs. Decision. I'm 70 miles away from Boulder. Colorado Springs, which is where you can get off to be at the tippy top of Bear Creek, the literal Bear Creek. That doesn't really make sense. I mean, he says in the poem, still going by my assertion that the Molly Brown's summer home is where you put in. It's almost like he's using it in a. He's saying go up the creek from the Molly Brown house. But he says you won't need a paddle for this creek, and I have come up with my theory that he's kind of talking about the pollution and the heavy loads in Shit Creek. Remember, this guy took 15 years to write this poem, he claims. So he's saying many things sometimes in a sentence. So he's also could just be saying metaphorically you put in under the home of Brown, you go up the creek in your metaphorical boat, but you don't need a paddle. What could that be saying? You're driving up the creek. There's a road called Bear Creek Road that I haven't even been on yet. So, what have I gotten myself into? See, I'm at this park and there's the park. I don't want to go into the park. I got to turn around. I've got to go all the way down there and... Oh, I see. I can... Oh, good. I can go right over there and get back out. I'm heading back to Bear Creek. I'm going to head for Bear Creek Road. I'm going to get on Bear Creek Road. This is really... I'm just all over the place. He said it's not too far, but too far to walk. So he's not talking about Colorado Springs. I realize how stupid that was. Check in later. Giggles, I've decided to stop at the Morrison Natural History Museum. I'm very close to Bear Creek Road, but I'm just stopping in here for a few minutes and see what it's like around here. I feel like going in and saying, you don't have a section on blazes, do you? See what they say. Anyway, talk to you later. Alright, so I went into this museum and bought a ticket. It didn't cost very much, like $5-6, I forget actually. And you can wander around and pretty much look at anything you want. It's small, but it's packed with stuff. It's a working museum, and every few minutes or half an hour, or I guess whenever enough people show up, they give a tour. A young man who walked us around, and we could ask questions about the stuff, or we could be he told us about the stuff. And we had quite a smart group. He was impressed. I was impressed. One of the guys, I think, was like a paleontologist. He kept asking these really complex questions, which, you know, the guy did the best he could answering his questions. On a couple of answers, the young man was really showed some incredible depth of knowledge of dinosaurs that, you know, I didn't even know you could know as much about these dinosaurs as I guess these guys all know. Dr. Bacher is a world-famous paleontologist. He's up here in his office at the moment. You've seen him on National Geographic, Discovery, etc. He's got a white beard and long white hair and a straw cowboy hat, and he's kind of a curmudgeon, but he's very cool in that at the end of the tour he opened his office and let us come in, and he was working on a salamander fossil, if you can believe this. It had teeth all across the roof of its mouth. It looked really strange. I was thinking, that must be uncomfortable. But he was just like, well, yeah, that's what you know, they go through these. He kind of talked about the holes in the skulls of the mammoth and some other animals, and how they the muscles for the whiskers and trunks would go through these holes, and how they would go increase and get smaller through evolution. And you just start to get the sense of the time that these guys' heads are in that work in this, that there's There's a mastodon, not to be confused with a mammoth. You know, that they just see evolution almost like watching a movie. Things get bigger, things get smaller, things just change in this on. There's his office, Dr. Bacher. I was just thought it was, not only was it cool to hear him discuss stuff, but he's really just exactly what you would hope to see in a paleontologist, kind of a curmudgeon-y, kind of really smart, knowledgeable guy. Okay, this, I think the young man that gave us a tour said this, I think this Tyrannosaurus Rex head is the second most complete fossil in the world. Dr. Bacher and some other paleontologists who work there, they go to like Wyoming and the surrounding states and get all this stuff. And out back there's also a thing where you can chip away at rock, and like they do. Very cool place, Morrison Natural History Museum.
Right, so we are on Bear Creek Road. I had a very enjoyable visit at the, oh, this is interesting, at the museum. It's for prehistoric stuff. A very famous you know, paleontologist was there, and it's a working museum. I didn't know any of this. I was just learning. So I spent an hour in there learning about the dinosaurs here in this area. This is Bear Creek Road, so pretty good, you know, park a car, go down there. But again, I have to think in an area like this that this blaze is something you just see from the road. And he says you have to be, if you're wise, and see the blaze, but look at the countryside. So I'm just going to drive along in this kind of country, and I'm just going to hope to God that I actually see a blaze. And it may even be at a little bit of a distance from, you know, where I got to park. It's starting to rain now. Well, isn't this interesting? Remember our whole thing about parking, the one spot? Another one spot to park. This is getting really exciting. This is really, well, day by day you're excited, right? But then you get let down, and then you figure stuff. Isn't this interesting? All that talk about one spot to park in, and I'm seeing suddenly all these spots were one spot to park in. This is really, here we go again. This is really freaking me out, folks. I'm going to just drive up and down this particular road a couple of times and look for a blaze, and I have to believe with these rocks, look at the rock, oh my goodness, there just has to be a blaze somewhere in the rocks, and then you see it, and then you have to get out of your car and go walk to it, and so that means it could be a distance, you know, so it's probably pretty big. Well, I want to concentrate on what I'm looking. On what I'm looking at. It's quite a. This road goes on for quite a while. It's the Bear Creek Road. You don't need a paddle to be on it, and it all starts down at Bear Creek, below the home of Molly Brown. So, hats off to Fenn if this has anything to do with anything. Look at that way up there. God, you know, I've been making fun of people that are up on the side of mountainsides, and I'm going to end up on the side of a mountainside. I just got to learn to shut up, because I don't know. You just never know until you know. You don't know what you don't know, right? Wow, look at that. Okay, later. All right, it's raining now. I'm on Bear Creek Road, pretty much sticking to Bear Creek Road. I think it is the creek that you don't need a paddle on. And I just drove by, and I've discussed this before, the meanings of blaze. What if blaze is not a blaze marker on a tree, but it's something like, you know, I was kidding about I was kind of not kidding about the blazes, you know, at a grill at a park. Could be. Folks, I just drove by a huge chimney, like it's a fire on the side of the road. It's like a big, tall, well, you'll see it. And I'm going to go investigate it. It's right off the road, and you're going to see it. It's just like, could you blame me for stopping when you see it? You'll see in a second. And I've got to, I didn't quite get a good look at how to stop. I think I can drive up fairly near it, which would again put me back off the what he has himself said about planting it, taking an afternoon to drive in and out to do it. But he may be talking just in terms of getting up and down embankments and stuff. I don't know. I can't really speak for what an 80-year-old man can do and move and all those kind of things. But you're gonna at least understand why this stands out. This is not your normal campfire. I'm not even sure what it is. It's like perhaps a communal fireplace, and it is right on the creek. See, here's a creek right down below us. I guess that's Bear Creek. But again, when I saw this, I just went, whoa! There it is. See this right above here? Here's a huge fireplace. It's got a chimney in it. Oh, and then, but where do you park? Okay, I've got to turn this off and figure this out. You can see these guys. I don't know how you couldn't see him. Oh, he just pooped. He's pooping. I'm bothering them. They were eating on the side of the road, and I bothered them. So I feel bad about that. But anyway, gives you an idea, folks, of where I am. I'm up there. I'm still following my clues, but I am up there. So that was quite something to see. This trip's just been wonderful. I don't, at this point, if I don't find the treasure, I don't care, because I've never in my life come across a couple of elk or moose. Those weren't moose though, were they? Those look like elk. But this is what I'm driving through. Just absolutely gorgeous country. Continuing on. Continuing on now into a wildlife area. I've come a long way since groundhogs. I guess those are elk, right? Elk, I guess. Well, I'm in and now, folks. I am up at the headwaters, near the headwaters of Bear Creek. This is one of the creeks. I've actually walked up past Bear Creek. Spent quite a bit of time basically traveling through wilderness. Not wilderness, a wildlife area, but I mean, I passed a couple of cars there, but one of them was a park ranger, so. But there are fishermen in this area, and where I park, there are parking spaces, but, and this is kind of funny, I guess someone maybe forgot it, so maybe he should have said blazer or windbreaker instead of the blaze. Folks, I feel real close to it. I know that sounds absolutely ludicrous. When I go down from here, I'm going to get in my car, I'm going to drive up this dirt road to another trailhead, and it's going to take me down, well, I may just go down to where I parked and then continue on. It's technically I think it's a fire road. It doesn't really say you can't take it, it's just that the trail pointed this way, which took me exactly opposite of where I wanted to go. I wanted to go down this creek to where it meets Bear Creek. And, if that's where he was, you're definitely, I mean, aside from the fact that this has been left here, which is irritating, although there are some guys right down the creek here that are fishing with their shirts off, so that could be theirs. Anyway, I'm heading back down the trail. I'm heading down the fire road, which will take me to Bear Creek. I'll be literally at the head of oh my God, below the blaze. The fire road? I don't think so. Coincidence? Who knows? Later. Now, I'm going home for the day. I'm coming out of this area. You can see the kind of area I'm in. It's dirt roads. It's elk. It's deer. It's it's pretty far up. It's up into the I'm up into the mountains. So tomorrow is my 4th. I just wanted to show you something. You know, when I was doing Google Earth before I ever came out here, I saw this bit of property. It's federal land. I think it's federal or state land. But I saw it and I thought maybe this is the blaze. When you see this rock formation, when you see this on when you see it on Google Earth, excuse me, it is like a it's like a, let me see if I can get a good shot of it from here. Yeah, through the window there. It sticks out like a sore thumb. But again, this whole blaze business, I'm just thinking of everything that can happen. Having to drive extremely slow for this road because it's I bottomed out once and felt really bad. It's a rental, and I like to take care of the rental as much as I can, but it didn't do anything bad to it. I was driving pretty slow when it happened. But anyway, excuse me. I did some real hiking in there, and I really got hoarse doing it. I don't know why. Maybe because of the altitude and the oxygen, but just gorgeous country up here. I'm going to be up here very, very early. There is I kind of started to go down towards Bear Creek from the creek I was on, where I had to make a turn. And unfortunately, to try to get to Bear Creek right at its very head, there where it comes from 2 other creeks, I would have been on private property. However, this here is state or federal property, and I've already passed the trailhead that is probably a 10-minute walk from Bear Creek on the government property. So I'm going to go back down to, I'm going to come in very early tomorrow morning, and I'm going to hit that trailhead, and I'm going to go down there, and at that point I can take a left and go down Bear Creek, or at the very top head of it, or I can take a right and I can go to literally go up to where it turns into Bear Creek from the other streams, the other creek that I just walked up a little bit. And folks, I got to tell you, as far as I'm concerned, that's it for me. I mean, I'm taking this Bear Creek metaphor to its real physicality to its full experience. I mean, I'm going to be there tomorrow morning. I'm going to spend the whole day all over the head of Bear Creek. And then I say to myself, it could very well again be a blaze in a tree. If he had a hatchet and he made a little blaze in a tree, because I'm sure his thinking is, if you're wise or smart. Ooh, here we have something coming up. Can you see it on the left? I think it's an elk, a female. She's wagging her tail. Is that a deer? Oh, that's a deer. Yeah, there goes a deer. I just love it up here. I love animals. Don't even get me going. I've been thinking a lot about the environment on this trip. I just, because I've been out and I've been thinking about the oceans especially, I just am torn up at the way that they're finding these animals floating around full of plastic, dying, gasping out their last, and they cut them open and they're just full of plastic. It's just disgusting. I hate it. We're a smart species. We're supposed to be able to figure this shit out. We're supposed to be kind of in charge of the earth, right? Isn't that what the Bible says? And we're just treating it like garbage. And it's going to come back to get us. A lot of people would say it's already come back too far to get us. We're just waiting for the end. But we'll only get excited when our fish cost too much in the grocery store. It's already skyrocketed from when I was a kid, and it's going to just, tilapia has only been introduced to replace some of the other fishes that have gone away. Tilapia is, just a farm-raised fish. And so maybe that's just the way it ought to be. Leave some of these restrict parts of these oceans to absolutely no fishing, and just let's go with things like tilapia that will survive farming. Anyway, I'm sorry to get off on it, but it just, to see these animals up here living as nature intended them to be is really, really very cool. But anyway, I'm going to get out of this park soon, this area, and head back to my hotel and have a good dinner and get ready for tomorrow morning. See what happens. Later.